So this is the first time I really had problems with glue in these minis. I was going to paint them up, but apparently it wants to be a little special today. So we'll have to clean that up and fix him up later. It's a shame. Now I got glue all over my hands. All right. It's unfortunate. It happens from time to time, though. All right. So I guess we're working on this part instead. So I'm thinking I kind of want him to mirror one of the other bards I did. This guy here. So I might use the bright contrast orange on his shirt and then just kind of dry brush with a bit more of that harvest orange color. We'll kind of see how it turns out. Just try moving you around a little bit here. See how that works out. Yes, Clem. Clem, buddy, you don't need the paint water. Hey, hello, hello. How's the week been for you? Yeah, I feel that. Unfortunately, in my workplace, nobody else felt that, so work was rough too. But we'll just keep on keeping on, right? I was hoping not to chide too much on it, but I guess the best I can say is I hope that I am proven very, very wrong, and I will be the first to say so if I am. Let's try to boost you back up here. Still trying to figure out the best camera spot for this, but 20-something people, that's good. Well, and I always try to go at it with, if you're doing something competitive, even if you don't win, you can at least see what other folks are doing and kind of learn from their methods as well. And it ends up being a benefit in the long run. Always bums if you don't get, first, but there's always space for improvement. And hello, kid. If you don't mind, I'm just being distracted from trying to get some glue off my fingers. The paw fell off my werebear there, and I was trying to put it back on. I got just a little bit too much, so we'll have to try and fix him up again. He was who I was originally going to work with on this stream, but maybe I'll give that another shot now. I'll need to reprime that spot, but that's okay. Alright, let's let that dry. Hopefully it stays. How was your week, kid? I mean, aside from the usual things. Gundam models. Oh man. I'm not a huge Gundam fan, but my nerd things when it comes to big robots was Zoids, if anybody remembers Zoids. I had a couple of those sets that I put together, and all the instructions, of course, were in Japanese. You just kind of have to figure it out from the pictures. But man, yeah, those were a lot of fun to build. 100%. I love those. If you guys hear a cat in the background, I promise Clem was fed dinner. He is just full of beans, so please forgive him. Hello, Shark. Yeah, the Zoids are a lot of fun to build, and they're great just because I think my favorite thing with those, and it's definitely something that I'll probably be doing with the Warhammer figures I got, is just putting battle damage on them. Like, it's just a lot of fun. And yes, daylight savings has wreaked havoc on the little kittle's internal food clock, and it's been a nightmare. I'm glad to be back live streaming. It's just hard to juggle everything sometimes. I mean, even this weekend, I lucked out. We don't have any burials on Saturday because Saturday is our holiday burial day. But I am going to catch up with a friend that I have not seen since boot camp. So 12 years, a little over 12 years. That's tomorrow, and then Sunday's our Veterans Day program at the cemetery, and then Monday I'm off. So maybe I'll do an extra live stream this week. We'll see. It's just been very busy lately. And just mentally taxing. A regular, everyday life. So, Shark, you already know I'm going to ask. Sunday, what birthday plans do you have? Elder, don't call me out. So, I have tried and failed to make a frame for it like 3 times. I am learning that I'm not very good at it. That may be like literally a day that I'm on vacation. I'll just have to sit down and figure out how I'm going to do that. But I can assure you attempts have been made. I guess okay, so also, it's not Shark's actual birthday. Sunday is the Marine Corps birthday. So it overlaps with, it's always the day before Veterans Day. And one of the running jokes with Marines is you go out and just kind of get trashed for the birthday, and then the next day you get all the free breakfasts at all the restaurants because, why not? But even when you're out, it's still, our own little holiday. Oh, that'll be nice, Shark. We're like I said, we're working our Veterans Day program, and then I'll probably come home. I'll probably cook myself a steak too, and just enjoy a couple of nice whiskey sours and call it a day. Oh, that'll be pretty cool to paint up, Shark. That should be a lot of fun. Buddy, here, you can sit behind the camera. You just can't come over this way. The only problem with cats over dogs is cats will continually try to drink your paint water, even though you already try to remember not to drink your paint water yourself. Ain't that right, buddy? Yeah. That and, fur stuff on minis. That's also a pain. Alright, let's get that harvest orange out. So I'm gonna do like a heavy dry brush. Who am I painting? This is absolutely nobody in particular. It is a figure I got from Painted or Not of one of their Bard figurines. This is to the 100mm scale, which is the same one that I got from them for my Orc. And the, I'm drawing a blank, Strahd. So I'm painting him up. Hopefully he'll probably be a little desk sitter for the other half. I'm kind of going with similar colors for the Bard that he has in our campaigns, but it's not going to match exactly. I actually recently did up his mini right here. See if I can get a little bit better. No, I can't. There we go. Yeah, animals and paint water, like, I just forget that that's the container, that's the paint water. I mean, that's just me. But maybe there's something in the paint that they actually enjoy the smell of. You know, I really, no idea. Oh, I have a game for you guys to play. A guessing game. Give me, like, a minute. I gotta see where this die ended up. But it's actually pretty interesting. Actually, let me show them the whole bag. Because that was pretty solid. You split them? That's okay. Are these? So, one of my coworkers went out. He loves antiquing. It's kind of his thing. Let me see. We picked these up. He got a bag of the original, like, color-coded dice. Pretty much like 5 sets worth. No price on it. The guy, he walked up to the counter. He's like, "Hey, how much do you want for these?" And he's like, "I don't know. There's no tag on them." We're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, we'll try and call this person." And they tried to call the booth vendor like 2 or 3 times. Nobody picked up. And so they're like, "Yeah, just take it for $1." So I got a whole bag of plastic dice for $1. Now, included in that bag, if you guys can guess what this die is, I know, like, I'll know immediately if you Google search it, because it will take you to like one of 3 pages. Because that's how I had to figure it out. But if you know what this is, I will absolutely 100% paint you up a monster mini and send it to you. But if anybody can tell me what this die is from, let me shift you a little bit. I just want to get enough of it so that you get like a little hint as to what it might be related to. Because once I figured out what it was for, it made sense. But otherwise, I had no idea. Nobody in our friend group knew off the bat what it was. I had to do a little bit. And I actually used Reddit for good for once to figure out what it was. But yeah, if any of y'all know that one, You know what? Whatever you want. Well, let me rephrase. Whatever Nolzur's makes that I can buy at the LGS, I'll paint up for you. Kid, you're the only one left. And of course, I actually forget what the name of the game is from. I have to look it back up. But I can at least give you a genre. Man, I would say you're taking a moment. You better not be doing that little image search. Ooh, that probably tastes pretty good. I may or may not have purchased an espresso machine solely for the fact for my husband to make me espressos and cappuccinos. It was worth the investment. I can't say he's made an almond joy coffee though. Haha, you've been kid stumped. It's not from an RPG. It's from, I think it was either 1970s or 1980s football game where it was randomized enough between dice and card draws for your passes and interceptions and advances. Like, the fact that so of course I took a picture of that and it went into our group chat, and so it's just getting worked into whatever moniker of game it needs to be put into. I'm a sucker for matcha too, kid. I've got a whole bag of the ceremonial grade, just making lattes all the time. Well, I used to make lattes all the time. Now it just kind of sits on standby. Apparently, you need to make copies for the group chat, just so you know. I think my addiction to matcha was from being stationed in Hawaii. I mean, so they have all the Japanese bakeries and things like that. And so, like the little layered tea cakes with the matcha and the custard, and it's like the little sponge cake. Oh, so good. It's an absolute sucker for that. 38. Yeah, we had some obscure weather here in PA. Like, not last night, but the night before and the one before that, we slept with like all the windows and door open, like the sliding door open. No heat, no blankets, and like I still woke up sweating in my sleep. It was so warm out. It was 75 to 78 during the day and then didn't dip below, I'd say, the 60s. But there wasn't a whole lot of breeze, so the warm air wasn't moving out of the apartment too much. It was kind of gross. Especially for November. I shouldn't be waking up, sweating in the middle of the night in November. So I am, like I said, meeting up with that friend from boot camp tomorrow, but it is down in Philly. I was thinking of adding a little bit of extra content to the channel. It might not necessarily be gaming or painting related, but just like a little vlog or something like that, just going out and about. And I know it's a totally different genre. I know how you guys would feel about it. Kind of just since you're the regulars, I feel like I should cater content towards you since you're the folks that keep coming back. Um, but I also try and do things that bring new viewership to the channel. That's why I did, join my brother and get some Warhammer, even though it's not necessarily my thing. Painting, Warhammer's big. It's going to get some other folks coming in. So I was wondering what you guys would think about something like that, maybe. So, Shark, how cold does it get in the winter? Like, do you guys get a lot of snow? Like, I don't know. I don't know a lot about Idaho, I guess. I never really I never really thought about Idaho too much. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm a sucker for snow. I absolutely love it. I would have no problem moving stupidly up north and just being stuck inside all season, but that's just me. See, I don't even mind driving in snow. I mind driving with other people around me in the snow because I fully trust my own abilities. Um, I don't necessarily that of other people. My drive to work is on the I-81 83 corridor here. And if you know anything about that here in central PA, it's actually one of the deadliest ones that exists in the nation, which I think is, a great statistic to have. um, and it's mostly because it started out as a 2-lane highway and they never expanded, and just the actual amount of traffic you get, it's not great. And the interchanges are not necessarily easy to handle. Sometimes to, like, for instance, there's what we call the split, 81 83 split, and it sounds really dramatic. But where the two of them come together, if you need the next exit, you have maybe 300 feet to cross like 4 lanes of traffic. And it's not great at all. Especially because it's like a heavy shipping lane there, so there's a whole bunch of tractor trailers, and the entire thing is just a nightmare. Um, I have no problems, again, driving it, but I don't trust other people there. And then once you add snow, people think four-wheel drive equals four-wheel stop, and then before you know it, you just have a stockpile of cars sitting on the side of the highway. Shark, I don't know if bolt action would necessarily be the other half's thing, but I might have to see if my dad would be interested in it, just because he's a bit more of the historian kind of guy, and would probably prefer that kind of wargaming. An Elder 100%. I do not enjoy driving that much either. I just kind of have to out of necessity, unfortunately. Always just feels like a waste of resources. And don't get me wrong, I did own a big truck that was screaming yellow with a spoiler and went zoom zoom. But just because I enjoyed that aspect of driving, I still, like I said, don't necessarily enjoy the other people on the road. Hero Quest, see, I don't know. I mean, I've looked at it. I don't know if I would enjoy it or not. I think my main thing I'm combating right now is space for more and folks to play with. I mean, we have our D&D group and, well, time, I guess, too. Just learning something new and sitting down and learning it. Like, I have all of the Legend of the Five Rings, equipment and books and all that, and I still have yet to sit down and actually play that, both the card game and the TTRPG. Yeah, Well, and I still don't understand how, like, my singular video that was only half clickbaity ended up getting, 5,000 views, and then everything else, like, caps out at best maybe 500. It still kills me. But, I mean, if the only one that people watch is the one where I'm staying just to, stick with it and do your own thing, then that's okay. I don't I don't need YouTube fame. I don't need attention. I want a couple more folks to watch, but I don't need anything crazy. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a what's on your shelf series and just pull out maybe some random expansion references or things that people might not necessarily know about, especially since I feel like a lot of folks, hopped on the train with 5e and are slowly getting in, working their ways back. Yeah, me with 500,000 followers, sure. You dream more than I do, Shark. That's the thing, kid. I didn't even feel like it was that clickbaity. I mean, maybe that's just me, but it is the uncomfy truth with miniature painting. You're gonna be bad. There's gonna be things you hate, and it's okay. And so fast, I feel a lot of people give up on hobbies, not even necessarily just this, that they might enjoy, just because the first couple rounds are bad. And I am 100% saying that as a hypocrite because I have perfectionist tendencies that if I'm bad the first time, I just hate it. But it's still the truth. I mean, we played Shadow Dark, so I mean, maybe I'll have to talk about Shadow Dark a little bit. I don't know. It's funny because you think I would pay attention to what the trends are, and well, I don't. So I think my other thing is getting into, and I don't want to say it, but the stupid shorts. I mean, that seems to be the fastest way to draw traffic anywhere, but I guess you gotta bite the bullet sometime. I was trying to stay a little bit out of like the content review or narration realm simply because in my opinion I'm a bit of a layman on that. I mean, painting I feel kind of, I don't want to use transcends, but it can be used so much across, I mean, like fantasy gaming, mech gaming, historical gaming, all of that falls into it versus me trying to speak about something I've done a little bit, and there's always going to be someone that has read the book back to front, and it's a little bit of a nightmare. Yeah, I get that, Shark, but it's also, I feel like I would need the space to actually produce a video to that point. And maybe I'll have that space in a few months in the future, but right now, I mean, we'll see. And it's also just a time thing. I mean, I'm working between 40 and 60 hours a week, depending who's at work and who's not. This is just kind of, you know, like a little hobbyist thing. It's not necessarily trying to be my main income or income at all. I mean, some beer money would be nice, but... Yeah, and weeks like that when it's dealing with, you know, burials and grief, it's not like, you know, long weeks at the Happy Miniature Pony Petting Zoo. Although, now thinking about that, maybe I want to open a miniature petting zoo. That'd be pretty fun. I mean, it's draining, but it's also rewarding. I mean, as the other half says, if you can do it, you should do it, because not anybody can do it, and someone needs to do it. And if you're good at it, then why not? I might be paraphrasing just a little bit. No, and I think the other thing, while I'm looking on it, is I just want it to be like a chill hangout, you know? It's things that you can, videos you can put on in the background whenever you're working and things like that. Just, it doesn't need to be drawing your attention. And maybe that's just kind of what I have to approach it as and try and build that up. Yeah, don't worry. The pro Acroll is coming whenever I get all those overtime hours for working those long weeks. I was at the game store this week. Well, yesterday, I went and got my brother his present, which if he's watching, I'm not going to say what it was, because for some reason he never hops in the chat, which would be helpful for me to know if he's here. But I was eyeballing some of the actual sets of Pro Acroll, and I think once I've already gotten rid of about 2 or 3 bottles of the MSP. Once I get, I'd say, through maybe about a 10, maybe a dozen more, then I'll be picking up a set of those. I love them just for their ads that I see on Facebook, and I hate that I just said that because Lord knows the cell phone's listening, so I'm gonna get 1,000 more ads for Monument Hobbies. But I mean, just the one they put one out that I saw this week that they have plaid paint. I mean, it's the old gag, and just the fact that they play into it, I love so much. So here's a good one. After bringing up the 1970s 80s football game, what's the first game, either board game or tabletop, that you guys got really into or obsessed over? And I don't mean like obviously like yeah, when you're a kid you get obsessed with Sorry or something that, but I mean like once you actually got into a little bit, next stage. I've seen some of their live streams. I've tuned into a few. Obviously, I'm sure with the brushes you can see that I'm a Tabletop Minions fan. I just am. I think their content's great. Mutant Chronicles. I did say Tabletop Minions, Shark. I'm trying to think the answer to my own question. I mean, I was really into trading card games just because I came from like the Pokemon kid era, but unfortunately, I loved the Harry Potter trading card game. But RPG that I really got into, I'd say in late middle school, like high school, was Shadowrun for sure. Very, very loosely. See, I was curious because most people that I've played D&D with, it was not their first game. Now, not all. I'm not saying all, but most. And I say most from my generation. So, later, mid to later millennials. I feel like a lot of them D&D was like third or fourth on the list. Only spent a quarter and the rest is history, huh? Yeah, that's what a lot of our game nights were like too. Ours was just in the common room of the barracks, but I mean, you just have like 20 or so guys, 30 or so. I say guys, it's guys and girls, but I just say guys sitting around the table, you know, and you either have one table and all of them are playing D&D, um, or you'd have two or three split in the room and we just kind of rotate. You'd have like two short games, um, you know, maybe one of the box card games or something like that, and a longer game. Um, you know, like a lot of Coup, Betrayal on the House of the Hill. Geez, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else we played. So much. Um, what is it, like the Sheriff of Nottingham? Freaking. Uh, what's the space one? I don't know. There's just so many. But yeah, I mean, it's just a whole bunch of us just sitting around. It was awesome because everybody would tag their own stuff, but it's just a free for all. You just have a whole stack and just like go for it. A lot of Catan. Oh, Twilight Imperium. That's the one. I think there's a game still on pause, honestly. So if you're a saw gunner, like, were you all just playing barbarians, or I was intel, so of course you have a whole bunch of people acting like everybody knows that everybody else is wrong, essentially. But what we ended up doing, and I think I told you guys this before, I don't remember, is everybody would always argue if we were going to play 3-5 or 5e. And so our DM essentially bastardized a version of 3-5-5 and Pathfinder. So pretty much full homebrew, but just so that nobody, like, you couldn't argue about what's better or what would be more effective in a situation. Like, you just had to go with his rules, and that was that. And if not, just kindly leave. Yeah, I was at a rad bin shark, so we were a whole bunch of secret squirrels getting taught, all this stuff and being accountable with, millions of dollars worth of gear, but you can't have a toaster in the barracks because you'll burn it down. Good times. I'm not saying we didn't have a toaster in the barracks, but what you do and what you're supposed to do are two very different things. That is true, Shark. I mean, for some reason, Marines, a lot of them, are a breed that I would trust them with, literally anything, but I would not want them to babysit a toddler. Like, I would not. they're just, they just don't think right. I mean, I guess you kind of have to not think right to enlist the Marine Corps, but You don't have to thank Elder. Got me some free college. It's the best track for, you know, kids that barely graduated through high school because they were too smart for their own good. I'm gonna let that little tunic dry and do the seat next. In pink. So it's 100mm scale. Actual height isn't. But so. See, I don't think. No, I have the orc at work. But so, for instance, this guy, I'd say the orc would probably stand about here. Sorry, I know my hands are off screen. About here on him. So if he were standing, I mean, it'd be close. But it is the 100mm scale. I'm gonna pause you right there. You mean these bad boys? Yeah, I love the fluorescents. I was using them on some of the monsters for the eyes and the spines, like little accents and things. I'm a sucker for them. I have yet to experiment with putting them in the airbrush, but I do want to see how well that works. I originally picked them up for the tines on one of my beholders, because why not? That's the beholders are the only miniatures that you should invest in. I mean, let's be honest. But I wanted to see how well it would do against similar colors that were not graded as a fluorescent. And I just kind of got suckered in. I bought the purple one first, and then I went and got the red, especially to I use it for the rim of eyes and then for around the pupil as well, and it just kind of adds an extra little oomph to it that makes it look good. The airbrushing's been going okay. I'm certainly getting better with applying a more than single tone gradient, or single color gradient. I have to work on the detailing though, which I will hopefully do at some point this weekend, mostly because I have a totally not gaming related figure. My coworker got a bird, like a little bird, maybe about yay big to sit, on a desk or a table or what have you. And she wanted me to paint it up for her because it's just, I think it's just silver or gold or something like that. And so I wanted to use the airbrush on that to do like a blue and purple, like just regular bird coloring. So I'll get some more practice in, but it's just a pain again being in a small apartment. Just I don't have it set up 24/7. Just getting it all out and putting it together and then cleaning it, putting it away, and making sure I'm doing it at a time of day that isn't bothersome to the downstairs neighbors. But we're getting there. Giant flies? What did they do to deserve giant flies? So, are they just regular flies, or are you making them like giant bot flies and then a player gets larvae stuck in them and then nobody knows? And then, oh man, that'd be good. Elder, I'd say the spiders are friendlier than flies because spiders, I mean, at least, I mean, you can knock them down, you can lop off a couple legs, like, and flies got the hum about them, yeah. They want to be kid, but they're just not skilled enough to do it, so they just get that hover going on just to bother you. So just so you guys know ahead of time, probably gonna hop off at the usual like frame of like 7:30-ish. Just so you know, you can plan in advance. Mostly because, I mean, I came home and I had maybe 30 minutes between getting home and hopping on. And I have a couple things I need to get done yet before tomorrow, as usual. So when you say a group, are we talking like normal swarm or group of large flies, so like a dozen swarm? Like how does that change? Because obviously there's going to be different food demands. And do they still only live for a couple of days if they're that big? I need to know about your giant bug entomology, Shark. I need to know that you've done your research for your game. Several months. Look at you ready with all the answers. See, I feel like I'd be perfectly fine with flies. Giant maggots might be where I draw the line, though. And centipedes. I don't like any kind of centipedes. The size of your bed, what bed size? I mean, I feel like either way, kid, it's not great whether it be a twin or a king. Like, either way, that doesn't sound enjoyable. So what are your players' levels for this? And are you doing horror mechanics for it? Like, you know, fear stricken and things like that. That could be good. I mean, that sounds balanced. I always hate high AC, low HP. Because it always feels like you never end up actually hitting them. As a player standpoint, not a DM standpoint. I think someone's watched a lot of alien movies, Shark. That's what I'm saying. You gotta pick like one in their party, but nobody knows until it's too late. So how many gaming, I mean, all of you, not just Shark, but how many gaming groups do you guys have? I mean, we have 2, sort of. And each, I would say, meets up like once a month, once every other month. Hmm. So we have, two. The one, well, I think both groups really, I mean, we rotate who's running and what we're playing. The one group primarily plays D&D, and usually my other half is DMing. I only did a few, but then the other group, not Shadow Dog. Where's the other one we're playing? The one that Dolmenwood. Yes. So I mean, between Dolmenwood, D&D, Shadow Dark, revised Game of the Dungeon, and then like just board games, but I don't know if I could juggle 3 and or more groups. I think we might paint up this guy's hat and then call it a night. I 100% did not expect or plan to get him done just because of the size of the figure. But it is nice painting something larger scale, you know, when you're used to just doing all of the 28 millimeter, you know, little dudes. I have all the stuff to play the Avatar one. I've yet to do so yet, though. I do have another book on the way. His hat is going to have a bright feather. It sits right here on this side. I just don't know what color I'm going to make it yet. That might be one of the last things I'm going to do. Maybe blue, just to set it out from the rest of like the fall tonals, but we'll see. I have the sorry to circle back, Elder, I apologize. The Iroh book coming. I think it's supposed to actually come tomorrow, from the Kickstarter for it. I won't say anything other than you should absolutely watch it. The show, not the live actions. The new live action, they tried. I will give them that, but you gotta watch the original first. I have been looking at kit bashing. Partially because I want to get some extra bits to put into green dice. We do have molds and pressure pot and resin, because I just want to make gelatinous cube dice, but actually put little bits of figures in them. But I kind of want to wait and see about picking up like just grab bags either off of Etsy or eBay or something like that to actually build them up a bit more now that I'm feeling comfortable with what's already made. I've thoroughly considered getting into slicing and dicing, if you will. Yeah, Call of Cthulhu. I mean, that's solid. You can't really say no to that. If they say no to that, you're gonna have to have a really serious talk with them, Elder. I'm just saying. I mean, I haven't added, I've subtracted. Um, we have a dog question mark in our campaign that someone tried to summon in Ravenloft and is essentially an undead dog. So I had the Mastiff mount miniatures that I got from the Nolzur's set, and you know, got some heat up a knife and kind of carved away at it so it looked like the bones were sticking out and things like that. But I haven't slap chopped some stuff together yet, which it'll be fun. Yeah, I think that's some of my favorite stuff to look up inspiration wise on Instagram is just seeing how people, go and get sets and then make them completely their own. Um, Especially with like a lot of the folks getting ready for Golden Demon and things like that, seeing how, okay, yes, this is the official set I bought, but this is actually what I did with it. Um, I think one of my favorite things though is actually taking up the bits left behind and integrating it into terrain. I've seen that especially with the mech games, but there's some pretty solid ideas out there. I think my favorite thing is just seeing or listening to the thought process, like seeing how someone can look at a couple different things and come to, oh well, this is what it should be, this is how it'll work, and then just go and get it done. There's no question to it. um, I think that's probably my favorite thing about it. Let's see if I can, there we go. So this is how far we got on our guy tonight. Not super far, but he's looking pretty decent. So if you guys just hang tight for a second, let me see if I can go and find puddles for you. Just so I can show you how I did a little slap and chop. Huh. Thanks, Shark. I appreciate the compliment. Sometimes I do feel like a little bit of an imposter, but we'll all end up where we want to be someday, right? So we do have a regular painted Mastiff in case the boys can ever figure out if they can even heal puddles. So you can already see he had come to that little bit of flayed flesh, and it's the Mastiff mounts, the other one, and this is the one, I forget the actual name for it, but they're the clear mold. So they're already kind of look like they're supposed to have flames coming off of them. But instead, I did it like, well, he's a zombie dog, so his flesh is just kind of falling off a little bit. And so you can see, like, where I hacked out a lot of the upper pieces, so they ended up looking a lot more sharp, like little bone ridges. Yeah, he was... it's a lot of fun to go and make something 100% what it's not supposed to be. I think it's good practice if you have an expendable miniature that you can just throw into something. Luckily they had a whole bunch of these guys on the shelf, so it wasn't a problem to pick up. They weren't apparently in high demand. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. It's always nice to see you. I'm glad everybody's doing well. Like I said, since I have Monday off, I'll try and do that as maybe my actual produced video day, like video making day, so that I can have a video go out next week and still do a live stream at the end of the week with you guys. So we'll have to see. See, I don't know if it was the Hellhound. Give me a second. Let me look up quick. Not Blink Dogs, not Death Dogs. Yeah, it wasn't the Hellhound one either. Oh, but they have collars on. Maybe we'll have to pick those up and paint them someday. No, it was, you know, I'll remember in an hour. It's a Shadow Mastiff. There we go. Thanks, kid. My husband started nodding exactly what I said that, and you said it right at the same time. It took me a second to go and find, but that's the problem with throwing all the boxes away. I try to write little initials on the bottom, but it doesn't necessarily work. But anyway, I think that's it for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out. Like I said, hopefully we'll have another one next week. And we'll see once we roll into the holiday season how all that breaks down. You never know. But as always, thanks for tuning in, And I hope everybody has a good weekend and that you guys take care.